Hello, my name is Ilona, and this is after my live, my Dutch live I just did, and I want to do a recap with questions I answered in that live. And hopefully, these are questions that can be interesting for people outside of the Netherlands as well. First question I wanted to start with is a question about Jimmy Savile, I think, in Great Britain. He was taking care of all kinds of horrible things for the royal family, for political hats and things like that. And the question was if the white hats had anything to do with his removal, so to speak. Well, I've got the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Wands. So this tells me, yes, they were behind this. The Magician, I feel, was him, but in a very negative light. He was manipulating anyone, everyone. He was in between everything, controlling everything. And someone took care of him that was the King of Cups. So someone, I don't know, it's like a charming person that actually took him down or made sure that he was, in a way, removed from everything. So this is interesting to see. So I do believe the white hats had something to do with that. That was the question. Second thing I looked at was Spain, the energy there, because there's a lot going on there. Tucker Carlson recently went to Spain because there are a lot of people rising up against their government. And I just wanted to take a look. I have to see, the first card was again the Page of Wands. So the white hats are also helping out there. We have the Queen of Cups with the Three of Cups. I think I pulled them together. There's going to be celebrating ultimately and the restore of balance. We've got temperance. It probably will take some time, but in Spain things are happening and ultimately it will lead to balance and happiness, a connection. So I do believe that ultimately the people will win there. So this is interesting to see. This is very, very promising to me that these cards are there. So there's going to be balance restored in Spain. Of course, I can't give when this will happen, but ultimately Spain and the people there will prevail. I think that's the most important, mentioned from this card reading. Ultimately, they will prevail. So the next thing, let's see. I have to see if my sound is still up, because I don't want to have too low of a sound yet. I was afraid of that, so I hope you can hear me better now. It was already limiting. Let's see, better light. I have to watch this laptop. It automatically goes back. So just making a little recap just in case you didn't hear it correctly. So we have the Page of Wands for Jimmy Savile. That's obviously that he was extremely manipulative. Someone took him out. He was done on purpose to get rid of him and to remove him. So that was the first one. And the second, about Spain, we also got the Page of Wands. Again, white hat influences. And we have the Three of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and Temperance. So balance will be restored there. And there will be some kind of celebration in Spain ultimately. Of course, like I mentioned, we don't know exactly when this is going to happen. So this is interesting to see. The third was Javier in Argentina. Of course, now we have a new president there. And of course, there was a World Economic Forum connection. And I shared something on Telegram about this morning, where he said himself that he hasn't been a member for a very long time for the World Economic Forum. And he's completely against their Agenda 2030. Of course, make up your own mind, see what resonates, but it's interesting to see he's speaking out against them. And that usually doesn't really happen in a way that they speak out against the World Economic Forum when they're still part of it. So we'll have to wait and see, obviously, what he's really going to do. Actions speak louder than words. Interesting enough, the cards I got was the World card, the Universe. We've got the Three of Wands. And we have the King of Pentacles. So to me, it's more like he's to kind of wait and see what he can do. But he has a plan. The King of Pentacles knows what he's doing, knows how to change things. So I think he has a lot of plans for Argentina, and the World card. So to me, this feels like not negative. I don't feel any negative energy with this. So I do think that he's actually helping bring in this new energy in his way. Of course, he's got his role to play, but I do believe he's actually going to help out, secure a different point of view, a different way of looking at things. That's the feeling I'm getting from this, from Javier. Of course, always see what resonates with you. Let's see. So we've got this one. Switzerland. Very interesting question. Apparently, there was a victory in voting for a certain right-winged party in Switzerland. A change of course, so to speak, or different way, different trajectory that Switzerland is going through, and someone wanted to see what kind of energy that has, what's going to happen with that. Interesting enough, I've got the Four of Pentacles, the Death card, and the Nine of Pentacles. So this is an old way of holding on. They still want to keep control over everything, but they're losing it. So I think in Switzerland, this is a change, a wind of change. And I think it is necessary for this process of letting go of the old. And the Nine of Pentacles really says that ultimately Switzerland will become completely independent, following their own line. And I think that is very important to understand. They always claim neutrality, independence, but of course they were completely used by the dark energies. So now they are on their way to independence. So I think this is actually a good thing that it happened and that the victory there happened for the voting. So I just wanted to mention that. It's very interesting. I'm afraid I don't know that much about the Switzerland politics, but interesting that a lot of right-wing, like in Argentina, are now winning and in a way taking back their country. Of course, you have to kind of look and watch out for the certain parties. We have for voting tomorrow here in the Netherlands. And of course, we also have a few parties that are more right-minded or right-winged. And not every party is, truly standing on themselves. Some of the parties are really controlled opposition, just really are there just to make it seem like there is choices. So you kind of have to watch out with that as well. But interesting with Switzerland. So let's see. This was a very interesting question as well. This is actually two questions, but I only got one card reading because the first card reading was about these Dutch banks that apparently have gotten their gold reserve, upgraded. That was interesting. I actually found an English article about that. And I thought it was interesting because we couldn't find anything in the Dutch media that says that the Dutch bank, so the official Dutch bank, apparently made sure that they have enough gold reserve. Their reserve for gold apparently is being, they have more than enough now. Which is very strange. I could only find that in an English article. So the first card reading was about if that is true or not. And that is what I got from the cards. That moving away from an old situation, heading towards something new. So I really got the feeling that yes, they have made sure that the gold supply is now at the right, correct, measurement. It's now in the right, correct order. They made sure that it's where it should be. The second question was very interesting. Where did that gold come from? And that's the card reading I did. So the first card for that was the Four of Swords, Justice, and the Hermit. To me, this immediately felt like this is from the tunnels. This is from an isolated places. This is from all the gold they tucked away. The dark energies wanted to create a horrible thing happening on the surface of Earth, and then they would of course hide in all their underground glorious places. They've had lots of food there, lots of gold, all kinds of materials, and I believe that the Whiteheads have taken care of that, and that's where the gold came from, especially with this combination. That's how it felt like to me. It was from isolated places. This feels like drawing me downwards, so I immediately think of tunnels and, of course, justice being served. So a lot of cleaning up there. Of course, all the horrific things that have happened there, helping and seeing if they could save children and things happening there. I've talked about this in other videos, but I believe that the gold for the Dutch bank came from there. And I understand that people are like a bit confused. Why would they supply that? But I do believe this is part of the new financial system, the quantum financial system. And you do need some central organ to start really changing that system. I do believe a lot of banks will fall. All that dark energy will fall. So, but it's interesting to see this. But they'll probably need some point to make sure that they can implement this. But it's interesting to see. And I do believe that that's where the gold comes from. So that's the question about the Dutch banks. And then we have another question, very interesting. I've got two more questions. First of all, of course, what is the energy of surrounding Elon Musk? His trial against, I think, Media Matters about X, and also Truth Social is taking on, I think, a trial for Media Matters. And I believe Rumble is involved as well, because they are portrayed in a certain way. They purposely do that from Media Matters. And it's now, or at least that looks like they've done all kinds of things, allegedly. So we'll have to wait and see, of course, in the trial. But I was looking at the energy of the trial. We've got the Ace of Wands, we've got the Seven of Swords, and we've got Pentacles 5. And the question was like, what's going to happen? Are they going to be able to do anything about, what has happened? So are the trials going to go anywhere? I see a yes, Ace of Wands, completely different energy. I see people that are trying to get away with things. They're going to be standing in the cold and they have to pay a lot of money. It's like, I think they're going to financially drain them completely. So this will bring in a completely new energy. And it's purposely done so that the people in the media are not going to get away with all kinds of things anymore. Going to be left out in the cold. So the Ace of Wands, I do believe changes will happen because of those trials. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen. But they're going to drain them from their money. They really are going to make sure of things. Okay, the last question was really more of a question about how long before all these things are gone because of, what will be the timing. And I already mentioned it's very difficult to see a really true timing for those things. So I just, started shuffling the cards and see what would come out. Interesting enough, the Knight of Pentacles, the Emperor, and we have the Pentacles 8. To me, this feels like the Knight of Pentacles is a plan. So they already are working on a plan to make sure that it completely disappears. We've got the military, at least this is my military card, and they're working hard. So I think that once the military are, really following their plan, and it probably sounds familiar for certain people in the independent media or in the independent, watching these videos. This sounds very familiar with the military and a plan that needs to be followed. Well, they're working hard on that, and when that happens, so when the military will step up, everything concerning the stings will be gone in a way that they're not going to push them anymore, and all these things about the damage, what they were really for, will come out. It's already coming out. They won't be able to stop it, but when the military steps in, everything ends. So I do believe all these things we've been through the past almost 4 years, it will all end then. So I thought that was a very interesting card reading. So these are the questions I wanted to talk about. I hope to see you again in another video. Most likely I will be making a video Friday from my live and doing the same sort of recap with questions I've answered in a live. So I hope to see you then, and bye.